But
so is the Indian filmmaking in some ways very unique? Has it really benefited Indian cinema, this kind of an approach?
you know, I was recently at the Pune Film Institute for their 50th year celebration, and as part of that, they had a screenwriting kind of conference. And Adur Gopal Krishnan was the chairperson, and he said that it's only in 2004 that they really had a separate screenwriting department at Pune Film Institute, and that before it was just an integrated course, screenwriting, and that, you know, the emphasis on screenwriting as a separate thing is just recent. And even now, I don't think a lot of Indian films spend the kind of time they need to on screenwriting and developing it, probably because it's so unglamorous. Definitely the script writers in India are not paid the kind of money, let's say, I'm talking just in equivalent terms. You know, usually there's a certain percentage of the film's budget that's kept for screenwriters in Hollywood. But in India, it looks like it's not that way. And so obviously, you know, if it's not lucrative, a lot of importance won't be given to it. It has to be supported with, you know, money behind it. And here in Tollywood, from what I've gathered, usually it's a star-driven system. So the star approves of a certain concept that a director or a writer narrates, and then, you know, the financing is in place, and then the producer hires a bunch of writers or a few writers to write the film. And since, you know, the clock is ticking on the money, it's rushed through because the star has certain time or dates that he's given. So there's not enough time for proper screen development, like screenplay development. So it's just rushed through. That's what I gathered.
Aparna, I would like you to give us your honest opinion how Indian cinema is looked at in the major centers of world cinema. There has been much hype about how Indian films have been going places in a commercial sense, that they have broken into the crossover zone, and that there is a much greater reception for Indian commercial cinema in different parts of the world. And there are certain inherent strengths in Indian kind of filmmaking, or the way subjects are handled here in a hybrid fashion, which can somehow withstand the overarching, sometimes they call it devastating, influence of Hollywood cinema.
So my view, I've been living in the US for the last 20 years, and my view of how Indian cinema is viewed, I cannot make like a, you know, expert statement here. But from where I stand, you know, Indian cinema is appreciated all over the world by the Indian diaspora that's living like in Australia or UK or Dubai or US also. But it hasn't hit mainstream. You know, when we talk an Indian film screening in Los Angeles, we're talking 60 miles south to a place called Cerritos, where there's like a Naz cinema theater, and it plays all these Indian cinemas. I don't see, you know, like a Jodha Akbar playing in, you know, a mainstream multiplex movie theater on Sunset Boulevard. So, of course, they do have that market, the Indian movies. There's an kind of an interest in Indian cinema by the Western audience, like I'm talking about like Americans, my American friends, but they only see it for like, it's like a caricature. Oh, Bollywood, dancing, singing.
A certain curiosity.
Yeah, but for them it's like they don't go there for the story value of it, or because they want to be emotionally moved or inspired. They just go for, and for them they could have as well seen any Bollywood film and they would have gotten that experience of dance and song. So that's how it's more like a caricature, right? In terms of film festivals and the international film market, you know, India's been talking about a crossover film, but we haven't really seen a crossover film yet. In the sense, something that truly crossed over into world markets. You know, Japanese films, Chinese films, you know, a Thai film that won the Palme d'Or last year. And, you know, other Asian countries are making an impact. in the film festival circuit and in the international markets. But India, so far, it's not getting any traction. There are some filmmakers like Anurag Kashyap and, Dev Benegal recently, creating some kind of attraction, but not to the extent that we would like.
What do you think about the speed with which Hollywood cinema has been making inroads into Indian cinema theatres? Dubbed versions of Hollywood cinemas are rage today, and they're screened in scores of theatres simultaneously, like an Indian blockbuster.
When I was in Mumbai, someone asked me a question or this question was asked even in Pune Film Institute at the screenwriting conference, what do we do about the impending Hollywood, invasion? And Om Prakash Mehra said, "You kidding me? They're already here." I mean, look at all the theaters in Bombay. They're playing Inception. That's, the biggest hit there. Even more than the Indian films. Avatar, everybody saw it. So they're already here. Disney's here making, they own UTV. I think they have a 60% stake in UTV. So they're already here, financing our films, showing their product, and they've invaded our theaters. We pay a lot of money to go see them many times. I know friends who've seen Inception like 5-6 times.
When can we expect the Anushri experiments completed? And this is not going to be a highbrow arty film. It's going to be an accessible comedy.
Yeah, it is a commercial film. However, I don't know if it's, a good idea to open. It'll only open in some of the multiplexes. And I don't know if we can, I think we have a better chance that if it gets some hype abroad and then bring it back to India rather than opening it here first. There's a fallacy that if you make an Indian film, it's for an Indian audience. And that's not necessarily true. Your audience can be anywhere in the world, and they don't need to necessarily be Indians. In fact, I think a lot of non-Indians love Indian stories, but they just need it in a form that is accessible without, making it too Bollywood, or it should have a little bit of a Western sensibility to it. When Meera Nair made Monsoon Wedding, it is an Indian film set in Delhi, but it is shot and presented with a little bit of a Western sensibility. So it was accessible to the West. And the same strategy, she kind of showed it at Venice International, showed it abroad, and then it was distributed in India.
We don't often get to hear this kind of ideas and thoughts about filmmaking that you have here in Hyderabad. But it's nice to find some person who has this kind of a range and approach and understanding of international cinema and hopes to make big forays and big impact in the days to come. We wish you all the best, Aparna Malladi. Hope to have another conversation with you once you have made your third film.
Thank you.
That was an interview with Aparna Malladi, filmmaker. Talking to her was Sumanaspati Reddy. This interview came to you in the weekly English program broadcast from All India Radio Hyderabad every Monday at 9:30 in the night.